Jesus freak here. I've been pushing up real hard against my limits. I'm like, maybe I can try to take some care of the stuff that's been building up in my apartment, which, I mean, yeah, it's my own damn fault, right? I'm not denying that. Though, perhaps at some point I'm going to try to get some help in making sure it stays clean once it's taken care of. It's going to take a long time to take care of it, a long time to get it clean. And it's not just because it's a big problem. Early on in the lifetime of my YouTube channel, I did a video where I talked about my diagnosis with a deformed heart. And right up until I was 37, I was like, why is it that I have good burst strength, but I have no stamina? And I was always accused of being, fat and lazy because I just didn't have the physical strength to do stuff. And it turned out there was actually a physical problem. So, combine that with mental issues and having no real track of time. You might be surprised at that, because those who know me know how punctual I am, but I just don't run on a 24-hour clock. So it's like, obviously I gotta deal with what I gotta deal with. Last week I took out, I think, a bag and a half, contractor bag. I'm talking those big, heavy-duty ones. Which it's because, I can drag them and won't cause a problem. I can drag them and they're not going to rip. Which is nice when you can't lift them. Especially when they're too heavy to lift. Which is why, it was only 1.5. Because that half was so heavy that I could barely lift it. Well, today, I just hauled, they were only about half full, but they were these heavy-duty bags, and a lot of the contents were very heavy. There's a lot of it, there was a fair bit of cat waste in there, so yeah, it was pretty heavy. It's like, yeah, I bag it up real tight. Keep it contained. Because it is feces. Well, part of it is. It's cat litter. But it's like, keep it contained. Although I don't seem to notice a problem with it. And it might be partially because I use, um, at least some of the time, I use bentonite litter. And other times I use litter that specifically has odor control in it. So, you know, I do what I can to mitigate the problem before it becomes a problem. It still becomes a problem. But I hauled 4 bags. They weren't 4 bags full. They were 4 bags about halfway full. And they were heavy. But the idea was to clear out as much of the area between the door and the end of the building. And at least for the time being, to stack some non-perishables overflow from my cupboards, because, you know, there's only so much room in a cupboard. And I mentioned this to my therapist. I said, you know, I know it sounds stupid. I like to see what I've got. So that's why my cupboards are always, you know, open. If I don't know what I have, there's going to be a lot of out of sight, out of mind. And I wind up buying the same stuff over and over. So it's like, you know, I have my mental problems, and I've learned to compensate for them. So right now, here I am, just emptied my hands, dragging a bag of trash out, because garbage days in the morning. And you know, I actually had some motivation. I'm like, you know, I'm starting to see something. It's like, I didn't do that much, but just what little I did made a significant dent in that area of the room, and I'm able to start moving stuff. So, you know, I gotta clean up so I can and move stuff, so I can clean up, so I can move stuff, so I can clean up. It's sort of like, you know, I gotta work in phases and sort of build up. And, you know, it's like I have to work in a certain order. Because, you know, if I hit the biggest problem part first, you know, it'd be no good. I'd have so much trash and no way to get it out. We were like, well, isn't there some other way you can get it out of the apartment? Well, I could throw it out the window, but then I'd potentially damage the roof. Then I'd still have to come down this stairwell to get it out of the way as soon as possible. It's like, no matter what I do, I'm going to have to come down this stairwell and then haul all the garbage the same distance. So, you know, there is no shortcut. Everything has to come down through here and down there. So you might be like, well, isn't this a bit TMI? I'm like, you know, I'm screwed up. And I admit it. I'm putting myself out, warts and all, flaws out in the open. Because it's who I am. Even the bad parts are still part of who I am. And that's why I feel like I have to be honest about myself, be frank about my issues. And it's also why, even though I know that I could do better, I could put a little more actual production value into some of this. Like, if I'm doing it just to chat at the camera and hope someone listens, hope someone watches, do you really want it curated? Or would you rather have it frank and honest? And so when I upload this, I upload it warts and all. Because I want to be seen warts and all. Jesus, freak out.